Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me. Welcome to the Vault Excel. Hello, Luminous. Thank you for joining me. This is going to be about a 5-part live, including this update pertaining to the firefighters out of Georgia. They once were in a relationship, Mr. Chandler and Miss Reagan. The source of this information is WJCL 22 News ABC. During this live stream, you're going to hear commentary pertaining to a Nevada woman who's been arrested for bestiality, possession of child porn, a dirty husband out of Texas who used his mistress to sign fraudulent divorce documents, a racist staffer who called a black woman white trash over a voicemail, and then we're going to talk about President Biden, who has signed a pardon for ex-military veterans under a now what's the word I'm looking for? Was a gay ban at the time. 5-part live. Thank you very much. After I go over all this commentary, I will then go to my community page to read you the polls and your answers. Welcome to the Vault Excel.
But we begin tonight with that breaking news, sad news. Hinesville police say the 2 missing Liberty County firefighters were found dead in Tennessee. Reagan Anderson and Chandler Kubander were both found inside Anderson's vehicle on Hollow Road in Cosby, Tennessee. Their bodies have been sent off for an autopsy. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation says the investigation is ongoing. Cobb County is nearly 400 miles north of Liberty County. Police had said early on in the investigation that they might be heading towards Gatlinburg. That's about an hour west of where they were found today. The pair had been missing since June 24th. Family members say the 2 firefighters were romantically involved for years, but recently broke up. The saga seems to have begun last Saturday. That's when Anderson, according to Pooler police, confronted Kubander at Olive Garden. He was on a date with another woman. She was arrested after keying his car. The following Monday, Kubander told his mom his ex-girlfriend Anderson wouldn't stop blowing up his phone. Less than 2 hours later, video shows Kubander leaving the gym but not returning to his car. At that same time, Anderson's car was spotted in the same lot. But by Wednesday, Hinesville police alerted the public about the pair, saying their last known location was Cosby, where they were found this morning. We're continuing to press officials at the TBI and the Cobb County Sheriff's Office to learn more. In the meantime, you can find all of our coverage of this story on our website, WJCL.com.
All right, everybody, just recapping what I already brought earlier in an upload pertaining to these 2 individuals. Chandler, oh mercy, Kubander is no longer alive, nor is Reagan Anderson. They were in a relationship, don't know how long, don't know when they broke up, but the allegations are that she keyed his car, cracked the windshield of his vehicle, I guess before or after learning of him being on a date with another woman. She goes into this Olive Garden to confront him. She says some not so nice things to the young lady, some type of accusations. And the gist of the story is what we have now. He obviously was still talking to her, communicating with her. So how many times did he continue to talk to her, respond to text messages and phone conversations? It's also obvious that she was stalking him, following him, because how does she, one, know that he was at the gym in order for him to come out of the gym right after, because allegedly he went into the gym, came back out, and then went into the parking lot. You hear his mother talking about that. He's out of sight from camera, getting into either her vehicle or a vehicle. Her car has been spotted, out of town and now found with the 2 decedents in the car here in Tennessee. Lots and lots of questions. She also left a note in her home. They don't go into detail what the note says, just that it led them to believe that both were in danger. So what did the note entail? She's also been known to be suicidal. The mother also says that she is not a bad person, but she has some mental care issues. Well, it's all null and void now because they're both deceased. She also had a firearm. He knew that. He had to have known that. He dated her. They both firefighters worked at the same place. Where I have the problem is the obvious. You have to know when to fold. But we are all stupid at times, ignorant at times, in dealing with people. And it's not to be disrespectful to him. It's just to say You know, sometimes you know better than to go back in, to deal with people, talk with people. And maybe he's that guy. He was that guy. Well, I'm going to talk to her anyway. I'm going to deal with her anyway. I'm going to try to, keep her calm. But you can't keep somebody calm when you don't know their mindset. And see, we don't really know how deep this courtship goes, what type of issues they encountered, violence or fights or pulling of hair or pushing, shoving. You see, you don't know. We have to wait to see who's going to tell the story. You understand what I'm saying? This is a bad situation. Because he obviously thought he was doing the right thing. Well, let me go talk to her. Let me try to keep her calm. See, we don't know if she pulled a gun on him when he got in a car. Don't know. How are we going to know? Can't tell. Did she unalive him in the state of Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee? Which one? Because what would be baffling if we find out he's been dead for days, riding around in his car with her. And she's just trying to find a quiet place to park her car and then unalive herself. I'm assuming that is how it went, due to the allegations of her being suicidal. How long has she been suicidal? Was she medicated? Did she take medicine? Did she have a diagnosis? Did she ever go to therapy? Went to therapy, stopped, on, off, what? What type of diagnosis will we find out this young lady had? See, I'm going to tell you something. Working with people that you date is never a good idea. Never, 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 never. And married people will probably tell you that. It's never a good idea to date at the same place, go in business with your mate, boyfriend, girlfriend, because you have to prepare for the jump off. And the jump off is just what it is, a jump off. Anything and everything. Somebody's looking at somebody. Somebody's flirting with somebody. Somebody's stealing money. Somebody's doing something fraudulent. Now your name's wrapped up. This is why you don't go in business with people. You don't work with people that you date or marry. Just don't do it. I don't recommend it. Because if you want to make a clean slate, you can't do it if you have investments. You're tied up. Now, they both live in a small town. This is a small town, about 33,000 people. So most of the people know each other in this small town. Very reason why this was a bad idea, them working together, dating each other. Now we're talking about a tumultuous relationship. Somebody's suicidal. Somebody wants out. He wanted out, I'm sure. Got out. Went about his business. But she's still holding on. And let me tell you, that's a terrible place to be. Is to be holding on, whether you're suicidal or not. You can't let go. You can't move on. You got to call. You got to visit. You got to bang on doors. You got to follow them to work. You got to follow them over here. Man, that's a bad place to be for both parties. For both parties. This is why I said why they should not have been working together. Number one. Number two, he should have just cut her off. No phone calls, no messaging, no texting, no visits, no nothing. And that also goes for talking to your parents, friends. Don't pass a message to me. Don't tell me nothing about what they said or did. She comes to the house, tell her I'm not here. Don't open the door. Don't let them in. You see, a lot of people, one thing I've learned about people, and I keep saying this about people, a lot of people aid foolishness. See, you could have a friend or relative that'll be aiding this nonsense. Oh, I'll tell him what happened. I'll tell him you still care. But the person don't want to hear it. And then here you come, passing a bone. Not saying this happened in this situation, but just saying when you want to make a clean break, you cannot have other people on board with trying to do the repatching. Because as you hear, his mother doesn't say anything bad about her. For all we know, she was probably calling the mother, messaging the mother. Well, where is he at? What's he doing? I'm looking for him. And she might have been the type, I don't know. She could have been, well, he just left and blah, blah, blah. Don't do that. Don't get involved in that. That's my advice to anybody in the future, let's say. Your child breaks up with somebody, don't allow the other person to put a bug in your ear. Bow out. Tell them I don't mean any harm, but I don't want to get in my child's business. That's between you and him or her. So please don't call me. Don't message me and do not come by here talking about them. because that can be a dangerous situation. And we've seen that happen in relationships with people when there was no suicide, but the mother's still hanging on with the boyfriend's ex-girlfriend. Sometimes it's best to let people be, because it can cause conflict in the next relationship, such as it. And it's not to jump off topic, but I'm just trying to give you, for instance, how this can get very murky in the living. You're still hanging around and talking to the son's ex-girlfriend, and now let's say we have a function, barbecue, birthday party, and then he comes with a new girlfriend and you've invited the old girlfriend. Well, I like her, we're friends. She hasn't done anything to me. You know that's not right. You know that's not right. I believe I heard a story kind of like that a few years ago. Everybody sitting around a damn table with the ex-girlfriend. I thought, man, this is a hot butter mess. Meddling mother. See, it can go all types of ways, even when there's no suicide. So I'd like to know, too, the dynamic between his mother and her. Did she ever call the mother trying to talk about the son to her? Can you talk to him for me, please? I love him. I'll act better. I'll do better. I'm not well. Who knows? But this is a disturbing time for all involved. So my condolences to the parents, the family, the community, because I'm sure everyone is reeling from these events. A woman now has to come up here, or I'm sure she's already here, her and her husband, to now take their deceased son back to Georgia, about 7.5 or so hours away. Make provisions. Now her family has to also make provisions to do the same. Now the community has to come to grips with what happened with two people that they know, love. This is a horrific situation. I thank God there are no children involved. Amen. Haven't heard of any children. Thank you, Jesus. Thank God there are no children. But I am curious to which state this happened in. Did it happen when he immediately got in the car? Or he just rode the ride? I couldn't have rode the ride. No, not getting in the car with you. Not going to keep talking to you. And I'm going to be truthful. She's lucky that she was able to even get him in the car. Because there are a lot of men who, when they cut you off or move on, they don't double back. They don't talk. They don't conversate. They don't text. They don't do anything. They keep it moving. So she did good to get him in the car, especially after keying up his car and cracking the windshield, from my understanding. So she did good to get any type of conversation out of him. And obviously that's what she did. She followed him to the gym. She messaged, let him know I'm outside. Don't know what she said to him, but whatever she said made him come out. She probably threatened herself. I'm going to hurt myself. I'm going to shoot myself. I'm going to do something terrible. Please come out. Please don't make me do it. And he probably went out there and he foolishly went into his own demise by getting in that car with her. Now, did not hear that there was any type of gunshot or struggle outside of the gym for anybody to be, alerted. So I think she played it safe. She wanted to get him in that car first and then take him a little ways out and then handle her nasty business. Lord have mercy. That's the latest on those two individuals coming out of Hinesville, Georgia. That's where they are from. And sadly, they were found here in Tennessee, Cosby, Tennessee, right near the Smoky Mountains, near Gatlinburg, if you're not familiar. Next story is coming out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Boys, this is a hot butter mess right here. Hot butter mess here. Brenna Montgomery, 30 years of age, accused of bestiality with her own dog and possessing child pornography. She is denied possessing the porn, said she found it on the Telegraph app, I guess. Some encrypted something, I don't know. And then she said she did not force the dog into sexual acts. So what is she trying to say? The dog assaulted you, ma'am? The dog raped you? Come on now. Then people are going to ask, of course, what kind of dog is it? Not that it matters, but you understand. Are we really going to go here? You take the dog, ma'am. They've got video. Several. Matter of fact, I'm putting it mildly. About 153 videos.
So she's going on Telegram for the specific purpose.
Hold on a minute. Let me go back. Ooh, what a mess. What a mess. Law and crime is the source. Thank you for joining me. Welcome to the Vault XL. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $ began to 129 Cash App. Stickers and chats. Also, welcome to the live stream. Multifaceted live. Thank you for your time.
It's one of those things that I understand that the level of depravity really kind of gets under your skin.
A disturbing case out of Las Vegas, Nevada.
A lot of times you see these kinds of crimes are associated with individuals who are in their teenage years, typically boys. You certainly don't think of a grown adult woman actively engaging in something like this.
30-year-old woman is locked up accused of horrendous crimes, possessing lewd images of children, as well as performing and recording sexual acts between herself and her dog. On May 21st, Las Vegas Metro Police arrested Brenna Montgomery on charges including multiple felony counts of preparing, advertising, or distributing material depicting child pornography, 2 felony counts of possession of visual pornography of a person under the age of 16, and gross misdemeanor of bestiality. Although Montgomery was arrested in May of this year, the investigation began 3 years ago in 2021 when police received a cyber tip report from the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children. The tip regarded a Snapchat user who was transmitting 3 files of material involving children.
It's one of those things that I understand that the level of depravity really kind of gets under your skin. These kinds of things happen a lot. They happen all of the time, and I think it's important that we have appropriate and developmentally healthy conversations about sexual acts, about what sex means, about what sex behaviors should be and should not be, and understanding the role in which we all play in making sure that we keep ourselves and our society safe.
All right, I'm going to stop right here. First of all, you got to ask yourself the obvious question. Oh, Lordy. Why did it take you all 3 years to bring forward an indictment? I'm curious. Someone from Snapchat sent in a tip? Who was that person? Why are we just now hearing about this 3 years later? When you go on the YouTube queue and pull up this video, you will see other cases of women who have also been accused of child pornography and bestiality together, which I think, is there something that I'm missing? Is there something that goes hand in hand with children and pets? Well, one could use the analogy. Usually when you find certain crimes, there's always abused children and pets in the same household. Just throwing that out there. But in digging up this information to pull up in the YouTube queue, another case comes up, identical, which is scary as hell because you don't usually hear of women engaging in child pornography. It's very rare that you hear of it. But as we're seeing with a lot of deviant crimes and deviant behavior from people, there's probably a lot of it going on. It's just it hasn't come to surface and the person hasn't been caught indulging in child pornography and or bestiality. But it's very interesting to hear of a woman having sex with a dog or some type of animal. Now, one would say, well, they must be mentally ill. Oh, they must be drunk or on drugs. Maybe. It's still bad, whether they are under the influence of narcotics, alcohol, or not. And what'll be interesting, you find out she wasn't under the influence of a damn thing because she filmed herself with her dog. Shut your mouth.
And the investigation would seemingly lead to Montgomery, as more sickening details would emerge. According to a report by KLAS, police would find more than 150 videos which appear to show Montgomery and her dog. Police reportedly noted that 5 of the videos showed Montgomery's face or her partial face. Some videos showed Montgomery using peanut butter, and some of the videos were duplicates.
Shocking, right?
I read this earlier. Brenna, what do you need peanut butter for? I don't want to know. Oh, contradicting myself. What are you using peanut butter for with the dog, ma'am? Wow, 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 wow. Are we really going here today on a Sunday? Yeah. I had no plans. This is not something you want to talk about on a Sunday, although Sunday church is over, but my goodness gracious. Ma'am, what did you need peanut butter for? Peanut butter for whom? You or the dog? Really? Okay.
Grossed out. I mean, when you think about these kinds of crimes, particularly the bestiality aspect of it, you're usually thinking about someone who is still somewhat immature, right? A lot of times you see these kinds of crimes are associated with individuals who are in their teenage years, typically boys. You certainly don't think of a grown adult woman
Exactly.
actively engaging in something like this. This is something that is extremely unusual.
Forensic psychologist Dr. John Delatorre explains he surprisingly comes across cases like this often.
Yeah, often, but that's again with juveniles. And usually these individuals kind of grow out of it as they.
So you have this gentleman here speaking that usually you hear of this type of information with juveniles and they grow out of it. It still sounds horrific even to hear of a child fondling a dog or cat or molesting an animal. Please stop me, because I am drowning up here. This guy says they grow out of it. I want to tell you something. Last night, Queen stayed up very late, as I always do. I was up late watching a horror movie. I'm going to share that movie with you all as the movie of the week for my horror fans. It's a crazy movie. Trust me, when Queen shares this movie with you, you will never take another ride share in your life. Uber, Lyft, whoever. You will say, hell no, I'll walk first. But I'm going to share that movie when I come off this live stream and post it to the community page. So look forward to that post after this live stream. Sir, please bring Queen a stat on boys and girls growing out of bestiality. Just saying. I need a statistic. It naturally won't matter because nobody's going to confess their sins anyway. How do you start? By molesting an animal? Sexual urges? Interesting. I don't know. Not a doctor. But it's just interesting that I threw myself off. I'm sorry. I lost where the hell I was going with this. Queen was up late. And I came across this again in the queue, and I decided to listen to it so I could prep myself for the live when I decided to bring you this information. And I'm telling you, God forgive me, I could not stop laughing. I could not stop laughing. I'm telling you, if the walls in here could talk, they would be like, man, somebody go get this lady a stretcher. I couldn't stop laughing because I told myself, I'm not believing this bullshit. I'm not believing this. There's no way I'm believing this. No way I'm believing this. I mean, I literally was getting up, walking back and forth, doing whatever the hell I was doing, going in the kitchen, making me something to drink. I'd come back. It was as if somebody else was in here talking to Queen because I was literally just laughing and talking to myself out loud saying, they're making this up. No way this is true. Please tell me this is not true. Tootie, please.
Mature, their sexual interests go from, just having the impulse. Essentially, that's what it is, right? That they have an impulse to engage in some kind of sexual activity, and there's no partner there to engage in the activity that they want to engage in, and so then they abuse the family pet. That's often how. So
basically, he's saying it starts off in children wanting to, I guess, participate in some type of sex act. There's nobody there, so they use the dog. So I guess it would be just no different than using a child or some other object for self-gratification. It's still an animal, okay? It's wrong if you're abusing a child and a child and adult and a child, whatsoever. But we're talking about a dog. So you want me to believe you're so horny, and you're an adult. You're not a child now. You're an adult who could go out here and pick up some strange sex from a stranger. You could go pick up somebody you used to have sex with if they're interested. You could just go on a date site, pick up you somebody, or app, look at a guy, Facebook, hey, you're cute, what's up? Want to go have lunch? You know where I'm going, come on. But the dog, what can the dog do? Don't ask, Queen. I am asking. Did I just answer myself? I think I did. Damn, we're in trouble.
The pattern goes. It's definitely more impulsive that you don't really see with someone who is
behave in the chat.
Research such as it is often suggests that when women commit these kinds of acts, particularly bestiality, there's often an associated a child abuse component. So I'm not surprised to hear that not only is there bestiality in her background, but there is also child sexual abuse in her background as well. That it's still so.
Well, obviously somebody's done some background work. I have not seen any content pertaining to child abuse in her history. So if it's true she has child abuse, who abused her? How long did it go on? Were animals also involved in the child abuse as a child? Once again, who's the abuser? How long has she been abusing her dog or any other animals? What the hell am I saying? I don't know. And you also hear now him saying that it goes back to childhood, this bestiality type of behavior. Oh, wow, I'm dead.
Rare to...
Brief commercial. Thank you for joining me. I don't know what you're talking about, Tootie.
To see this, but when we do see this, it starts from the woman being sexually abused as she was developing, and then growing into becoming an abuser because of all of the confusion that she would have when it comes to sexuality and what is appropriate sexuality, and when are the boundaries that she needs to put up, when are those boundaries actually there, and when they're violated.
I just want to take a quick pause from this really disturbing story to give a quick thanks.
All right, brief commercial. Everybody's got to sell something. Jesus Christ.
Didn't lock or force the dog to do such activities. As for how she got tied into the other charges, she claimed to come across the lewd images of children in a group on Telegram.
I mean, it's just a sign of the times. Before, you would just get them through the mail. Even before, in way early times, they were legal. So it was okay for people to have some of these images. It's just a sign of the times. It's just the way in which we're communicating now. Before, it was snail mail. Now it's electronic mail. Discord, there's always going to be, if someone wants these things, there's always going to be a way for them to obtain it. And I think that's really the issue, which is how do we treat individuals who have these proclivities? How do we ensure that the behaviors that we all engage in that promote these kinds of behaviors, the society in which we live in, that make it okay for these abuses to occur? How do we stop these things systemically? I think is probably the thing that we need to look at. But it's such a large task that any one person can easily exploit someone else and then just post it somewhere. It'll easily be found by those searching.
But would deny saving or downloading any graphic images of minors.
This is something that a lot of sex offenders say, that they just kind of stumbled across it, that they had no idea what they were doing. The problem is that pornography by itself isn't illegal, right? What makes it illegal is all of the other things that are associated with it, like bestiality, like child pornography. So if she's going on Telegram for the specific purpose to engage in the exchange of sexual material, then she knows she's trying to hide it. She knows that this is material that she shouldn't have. So this idea that she didn't know that it existed or that she was going to be obtaining it, no, I don't buy that.
According to the arrest report, Montgomery stated she accessed Telegram with her iPhone 12, and the app automatically downloaded the video she viewed on the app and saved to her phone. but then would later cop to transmitting 3 lewd videos of children on Snapchat during a role-play conversation.
Research, when it comes to women sexual offenders, such as it is, often suggests that there is a male co-offender that is kind of the dominant one. It's usually that there's some man in the woman's life that has these deviant aspects to their sexuality, and they're able to coerce and manipulate the woman into engaging in these kinds of things. Now, that
is there a male co-conspirator that led her in this path or told her to do this or introduced her to these things? Or did she have a male role model in her life, either by a child or an adult, that introduced her to bestiality? Let's do a little homework. Human-animal violence link. We're going to touch on 2 subjects with bestiality and pornography and child abuse, so on and so forth. Thank you for your time. The link between sexual abuse of animals and sexual abuse of children and adults is well documented and illustrated through multiple case data. Examples are attached. A child's loved and trusted pet may be intentionally used in criminal sexual acts by the abuser as a form of power and control. Using the animal in sexual acts may be the first step to further harm the child and others and document this harm on film. That pet may be the child's closest confidant, and this violation can result in physical and emotional damage to the child and animal. I do find it interesting that they do mention the word film because she did film it herself. Stay woke now. She did film an exuberant amount of times herself in sexual acts with the dog. So here in this content I'm reading, it says, using the animal in sexual acts may be the first step to further harm the child and others and document this harm on film. Bingo card. So this is the abuser and the child and the animal. Fast forward, she's an adult. She's filming herself with the animal. Stay woke now. We have discussed this topic with experts in the field who are concerned with the various crimes associated with animal sexual abuse and if this conduct is accurately addressed in law, including child pornography and bestiality on the dark web. Well, and that's also where she allegedly has gotten information pertaining to child pornography and also engaging in bestiality. Now you got to ask, did she look up any type of content of bestiality on the dark web or the internet? This is very interesting. Hentai, animated cartoons illustrating rape of animals and children, animal sexual abuse linked to sex trafficking, including children and other acts. This violent link must be broken by providing clear laws and sentencing that cannot be misinterpreted, will instead deter criminal behavior against the child and the animal. Thank you for considering this request. As you continue your analysis, we hope the above topic can be reviewed and recommendations included in your report in the Minnesota legislature. This is by Ms. Ann Olson, Executive Director, on behalf of Animal Folks. They were writing to a Nate, MSGC Executive Director, about Animal Folks. I don't know, it's just something relates to sexual abuse as it relates to child pornography. Very interesting. So as you hear this gentleman speaking, I'm assuming he's a psychologist or psychiatrist. Jesus, I hope he has credentials. It's similar to what I just read here in this file I just downloaded through Google. There's a link between bestiality and child abuse, child pornography. How interesting. Somebody knows something, because it's being said here in this commentary, and I just read you the same in this file. And what are the odds she's masturbating or having sex with a dog, and she's also looking at child pornography as well? So this may go back to childhood, that she was abused as a child and an animal was also involved in the abuse. Did someone make her masturbate or have sex with a dog? Number one. Did she watch somebody have sex with a dog, cat, animal? They introduced her to sex with an animal. Very interesting information here. Thank you for joining me.
That doesn't mean that the woman is not culpable, and that doesn't mean that the woman doesn't eventually have her own sexual deviancy.
Hey, Laura.
It's that typically these women find themselves in positions in which being abused and abusing others are a primary component of the relationship.
Brief intermission. Thank you for joining me. This is a very interesting conversation. Very bizarre, but very interesting all at the same time. Got a lot going on here.
Nearly 2 months prior to Montgomery's arrest, she made this post to her Facebook page about finding her dog a better home. And the post she wrote, "Although it saddens me, I realize now it is best for both of us. New beginnings will bring immense joy and success, especially for dearest Piper. I am no longer able to provide her with the care and attention she deserves. Home is where the heart is. Let's help Piper find her sanctuary. If you have any leads or recommendations for trustworthy adoption centers, please let me know."
That was dated February 24th. So this had to have been years ago, because they said this information is 24 years ago, 3 years ago. I'm not really sure. It doesn't have a date, a year on it. The point is, why is she trying to find someone to adopt her dog, take her dog in? What was going on with Brenna and the dog? Black and white dog, not a very big dog. What was going on, Brenna? Why did you want to give the dog up? Trying to move on, new job, new obligations, didn't feel stable. Didn't like what was, oh, I'm losing my train of thought. You were doing things to the dog that you knew weren't right. What? Was the dog starting to act out from what you were doing to the dog? I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this. Why are you trying to get rid of the dog, man?
It's unclear if it's the same dog from the disturbing videos. And as Dr. Delatorre notes, there is a link between Montgomery allegedly victimizing vulnerable victims, children, and animals.
Oh, wow.
They're linked, right? They're linked together oftentimes because of that manipulation, because that the individual has authority over them, that the victims in these cases, whether it's an animal or if it's a child, doesn't really have agency. And so they're able to be engaged in these behaviors against their will because they don't know how to say no. And even if they did know how to say no, it didn't matter because the perpetrator of the crime can easily just overwhelm that individual either through coercion, manipulation, or just, visit. But listen, this is the kind of behavior, the recording of these abuses. These are the kinds of things that stick with the victim. Now, of course, there's obviously opportunities for them to be psychologically healthy and that these traumas that they experience isn't going to dominate everything that goes on with them. But the fear that the person that they are interacting with or that a stranger that they come across in their day-to-day life has seen them in their most vulnerable moment, has seen them being victimized, is a common fear, it's a common refrain that these individuals have that never really go away because once it's out there, it can't be stopped.
With Montgomery behind bars for the crimes, a Las Vegas Justice Court judge set her bail at $15,000 with high-level electronic monitoring.
I mean, I don't know anything about how this particular court decides how their bail should be. I can see individuals, I can see the community being, this is clearly someone who's a risk to society, and I don't discount that. I think there's also the notion that she's a woman, that in terms of recidivism risk, when it comes to sexual offending behavior, it's not very high, so why should it be high? I can tell about, jail overcrowding. I get all of these arguments, but this is once again another sign of the systemic issues that we have. The system in place is probably the thing that we need to fix rather than focusing on one solitary case in which the bond isn't as high as society would hope that it.
And that order comes with stipulations such as no internet access, no contact with animals, and no contact with minors. But it will remain unclear if jail time will have an effect on Montgomery's alleged behavior.
When we look at the risk of recidivism when it comes to women sexual offenders, it's pretty low. It goes from either 0% that they're never going to reoffend to somewhere around 7% in 10 years, 20 years, maybe their lifetime. So in terms of, are we looking at someone who is going to reoffend? Maybe, maybe not. It's hard to tell without actually doing a risk assessment on her. The primary thing that I think I would be focusing on is it's not that it's either bestiality or child pornography, child sexual abuse images. It's not that it's just either one of those two. It's that she has a combination of both. Now, again, these are the kinds of things that we would often see in male sexual offenders, having multiple sexually deviant behaviors, not as common in women. And so the more of them that you have, the higher the risk for recidivism ends up becoming. But it's also related to how do they view relationships? Were they sexually abused? Are there ways in which we can diminish those risks of recidivism by tackling what exactly it is cause these things to be?
At this time, Britta Montgomery hasn't posted bond. Online records show she's still locked up in a Clark County jail in Nevada. Again, if she makes her bail, Montgomery was ordered by a judge to have no contact with minors, no internet access, and no contact with animals. She's scheduled to appear in court again on July 17th. Reporting for Law.
All right, July 17th. Make sure I put a note of that here. Oh, Jesus wept. Who can keep up with this nonsense? Bestiality and child pornography. Have a link, which I find very interesting. And I had no idea. I wasn't trying to find out, quite frankly. $15,000 bond. She is not posted, still in the county jail. What did she do for a living? Where did she live? She had her own apartment, house, trailer, what? You still locked up? How are you going to pay your bills? How are you going to pay your rent? Where's her family? Las Vegas, California, New York, Toledo, Ohio. Where's her family? Let's hear what this lady has to say. I believe this information is coming out of Canada, Global News.
Recent studies that came as a result of the Supreme Court of Canada decision that have made a definite link to activities with respect to bestiality and the presence of children in terms of child pornography and other despicable acts. There's a link from individuals. And this doesn't necessarily reflect or specific to bestiality, but individuals that have been seen as being cruel to animals when they're younger grow up to have and engage in activities that are despicable or sexual violence in terms of kids or other individuals. So there's links that have been drawn. So
there's not something directly targeted to children in this. What you're saying is that by broadening the definition, we will catch more people who are potentially abusing children as well.
Well, it's I mean, what came out of the Supreme Court decision back in 2016 was, I mean, that was a horrible situation, a horrible fact pattern. What it identified was there was a gap in the law in terms of not having a definition through case law of bestiality that was only included penetrative acts. That there is a broader range of acts that can occur with respect to an animal that would have potentially, likely made a difference in that particular case, in that particular fact situation, which involved children.
All right, Global News. I don't know if this is part of Canadian information or what. Just having a hard time understanding. Basically, this lady, Justice Minister Jody Wilson-Raybould, said the government's move to tighten bestiality laws come in the wake of studies that show links between the act of animal cruelty and child sex abuse. So obviously, there is a link because now this is the third source I've brought to you saying the same. Global News. I'm trying to pull up an article. Everything is just fouls. And I really don't want that shit on my phone, quite frankly. It's just telling you the truth. I don't need all this crazy nonsense in here. I can't find anything. I'm trying to find something to pull up with a correlation. Okay, let's see what I can find here. I'd like to find something recent. Bestiality is a serious, although less frequently occurring form of animal cruelty that may be linked to subsequent aggression against humans. This investigation examines whether a perpetrator's race, childhood, residence, education, commission of a personal crime, and the number of personal crimes committed affects acts of bestiality committed during childhood, adolescence among a sample of incarcerated males. The results show that respondents with less education and those who had been convicted of committing crimes against people on or one or more occasions were more likely to have sex with animals during their childhood or adolescence, other than respondents in the sample. These findings lend some support to the sexual polymorphous theory that among these perpetrators, sex and aggression have become mutually inclusive, and that bestiality as a form of animal cruelty may be linked with interpersonal human violence. So now you got to talk about human violence after the fact. So first it's bestiality and child pornography. Now we're taking it from that to child pornography to violence against people in general. So is she violent? Was she known to be violent? Once again, was she introduced to child pornography as a child? Introduced to bestiality as a child by a male, by a female, by another child? How long has it been going on that she's been abusing a dog? Her dog. Where is the dog now? Where's that dog that's in this video? The black and white dog. Too many damn questions and not enough answers. Also, no high recidivism of women in these type of crimes. And we've seen it so many times, women abusing children, against animals as well. They don't ever get a long sentence in jail or prison. Why not? Just like the situation with Letourneau and that boy, she ended up marrying him at some point, dying later of cancer. But the point is, she didn't stop. She had some sick obsession with a kid. Sick obsession with a kid. And some people don't think there's anything wrong with a woman wanting to bed a boy, a teenager. Well, there's a whole lot wrong with it. They're a child. A 16-year-old to me is no different than an 11-year-old, 10-year-old. He's a child. I don't care how he looks. He has facial hair. He looks like a man. Well, he ain't a man. No different than this dog. It's a dog. You have no business sleeping with the dog. You have no business. Oh, God, help me. You have no business sleeping with the kid. Come on, stop this. You know, a lot of people are ignorant. It's always the norm. Oh, what's wrong with an older guy and a younger woman? Well, it's not the same, an older guy and a kid. There is a difference because you have no business sexually involved with the child. Don't give a damn how they look. I don't care that she's 16, she's 17. You are an adult. A 23-year-old has nothing in common with a 17-year-old. What do you have in common with a 17-year-old? Not a damn thing. You're a 28-year-old woman fucking a 14-year-old, excuse my language. You know better. You know better. What do you want with him? I don't care how he looks. So what? You know it's wrong. He has no conversation. She has no conversation. They have no conversation. And if you think they do, you are ill and you need your ass whooped. There's nothing a child has in common with you as an adult. Point blank. It is not love. It is not nothing. Go find you somebody grown to dilly-dally around with. And I always found that when young men and women like to hang around with children, it's because they did not have a childhood. There is some form of abuse. There's some form of physical abuse. It's something. Because you obviously identify with the child. You've seen this before with grown-ups hanging with children all the time. It's not normal to some degree, okay? Now, there's nothing wrong with taking up with children. You like children. You like spending time with kids. But then we also know the flip side is we also need to keep our eyes open when you want to just dilly-dally too much with children. Okay? Now, Queen has had all type of children in her possession. But the only time children would spend the night with me, they're related to me. You know? Parents need a night out, want to babysit, something like that. That's totally different. But we're not going to make it no habit of hanging around with a 13, 14-year-old boy. It's not going to look right. May not mean no harm, but it's how it looks. And all it takes is the wrong person to put out an allegation. Now you're sitting here fighting for your life. You have to be aware of your surroundings, especially when you're dealing with children. I say this all the time with people. You have to be very careful dealing with children. I don't care if you're related to them. You have to be careful. Cannot find me anything recent. It's like, what is the deal? 2016. Hold on a minute, you guys. Let's jump. It says, in the 1960s, the psychiatric community took notice of childhood animal cruelty as a potential risk factor for violent acts against humans. Since that time, there has been increasing evidence that children who engage in animal cruelty may be at risk of interpersonal offenses in adulthood, which we've heard that so many times of people, children being violent with animals usually grow up to become violent with adults as well. Okay. Now, since at that time there has been increasing evidence, once again, animal cruelty linked to adult offenses, less is known about children and adults who engage in bestiality and the potential risk that these individuals may pose for interpersonal, sexual, or non-sexual violent acts. We reviewed the legal status of animal cruelty in the United States, summarized the history, a psychiatric interest in and research animal cruelty, described current knowledge regarding the link between animal cruelty, violence, and proposed a novel classification scheme for individuals who engage in bestiality to assist forensic psychiatric examiners in determining the risks that such behavior poses for future. So this article acts like they don't know what the hell they're talking about. Sorry about that. So I'm saying I'm trying to find something recent. Jesus Christ, what is the deal? Prosecuting attorneys. Let me see what the hell they're talking about. Everybody wants you to download these files. What is the hell? I don't want this junk on my phone. All these files and stuff. New Mexico legislator. It's from 2002. Animals and Society Institute. Everything is a file. What's the deal? All right. Let's see here. This thing is so long. All right, abstract. This study compared the family characteristics, victimization, histories, and number of perpetration offenses of juvenile offenders who admitted to having had sex with animals to juvenile offenders who did not. The study found that 96% of juveniles who had engaged in sex with non-human animals also admitted to sex offenses against humans and reported more offenses against humans than other sex offenders their same age and race. Those juveniles who had engaged in sex with animals were similar to other sex offenders in that they also came from families with less affirming and more incendiary communication, lower attachment, less adaptability, and less positive environments. Those juveniles who had engaged in sex with animals reported victimization histories with more emotional abuse and neglect and a higher number of victimization events than other offenders. This would seem to indicate that sex with animals may be an important indicator of potential or co-occurring sex offenses against humans and may be a sign of severe family dysfunction and abuse that should be addressed in the arenas of psychological intervention, juvenile justice programs, and public policy. Okay. They're basically saying studies of bestiality are difficult to conduct since bestiality carries a social stigma and generally is kept secret by those who have engaged in it. And I just mentioned that earlier. Who's going to tell you they messed around with a dog or cat? Nobody. More than 50 years ago, Kinsey, Pomeroy, and Martin, 1948, estimated that between 10 and 20% of the general population of the United States has engaged in bestiality with a slightly higher prevalence in rural settings and among poorly educated males. And that goes back to what I just read you from another article, that they found this in more uneducated people. Wow, interesting. Although Kinsey's sampling techniques are considered unscientific by current standards, these high estimations suggest to some that bestiality should be reviewed as a normal practice among some populations. Well, that's not good. Wow. Okay. Just doing a little research here. Also here it says Alvarez and Freinhardt, 1991, found that bestiality may be more prevalent among psychiatric patients with major mental disorders than in the general population. Ooh, Jesus. An alternative viewpoint on bestiality has emerged from the criminal justice literature. Byrne, 1997, has proposed the notion of interspecies sexual assault, arguing that sexual relations with animals parallel sexual assault against women and children, because in both instances, there are issues of coercion, pain, lack of consent. Studies of adult sex offenders appear to support the co-occurrence of sexual offenses against humans and animals among some offenders with increasing numbers of incidents and animal victims occurring as offenders age. 1993. It just goes on from there. You get the gist of it. I'm not going to keep talking about this. So obviously this goes to childhood abuse, dysfunction, family dysfunction, low education has been mentioned, more prevalent with males. Probably a higher number of people have engaged in bestiality because naturally nobody wants to admit they've messed with animals. But we have always heard about animal abuse and rapists, serial killers, and violent offenders, that they would, beat a cat, strew a cat up, hurt a dog. And now we're having it tangled up with child pornography and also violence against adults once the offender has become an adult. Very scary information. Brenna is her name, 30 years of age, currently still locked up for these offenses of having child pornography and acts of sexuality against her own pet. What is the deal? Lord have mercy. Just wrote her name down. Brenna Montgomery, 30 years of age, Las Vegas, Nevada. What is going to happen to this female? She's told not to be around the internet, not to be on the internet, animals or children. So what does she do for a living? Where was she living? Apartment, home, roommate, what? Was she in any possession of dogs at the time of her arrest? Animals, cats. A lot of pornography was found on her device. Videos of the animal. Let me go into that and then I will jump on to my next subject. Oh, Lordy. Eight News Now is the source. A Las Vegas woman is accused of possessing child porn, performing recording sexual acts between herself and her dog multiple times. Las Vegas Metro Police arrested Brenna Montgomery, 30, on May 21st. According to police records, she faces 3 felony charges of preparing, advertising, distributing material depicting pornography involving a minor, 2 felony counts of possessing visual pornography of a person under the age of 16, first offense, and a gross misdemeanor of bestiality. Police said they found approximately 153 bestiality videos that appeared to be between Montgomery and her dog, according to an arrest report. 5 of the videos show Montgomery's face or her partial face. Some videos show Montgomery using peanut butter, and some videos were duplicates, police noted. So I don't even want to ask, as I said, what she was doing with the peanut butter. What? Putting it on her private parts? And what? Having the animal lick it off of her? What? Excuse my language, but this is crazy to me. Montgomery admitted during her interview with a detective that she did engage in sexual activities, but she claimed she did not lock or force the dog to do such activity, according to an arrest report. During a search warrant at her home in August of 2022, oh, Lord, why is it jumping off? Dang, hold on a minute, you guys. Now, for some reason, it's not coming up. Well, I don't know why the content is not coming up. Jumping off. Hold on a minute. For some reason, this article won't. These commercials in here. News Nation is cutting it off for some reason. It's weird. Oh, Lord, have mercy. Hold on, you guys. I don't know. Something's going on with this device. It's not. Something is really strange going on. That's why I don't like looking up certain things on my phone. Because this won't even jump out. Hold on. See if I can find something else. Go on to Yahoo. Yeah, it's just weird. News Nation, some type of ad keeps jumping in. It wouldn't let me bring it up. All right, they found 153 bestiality videos that appeared to be between Montgomery and the dog. 5 videos showed Montgomery's face or her partial face. Some videos showed Montgomery using peanut butter, and some videos were duplicates. That's even worse. Montgomery admitted during the interview that she did not lock or force the dog to do such activity. So what are you trying to say? Your dog assaulted you? Your dog knows how to sexually assault you. Is what you're saying. Your dog took advantage of you. Sound preposterous. You taped it. So what, the dog now, he knows how to use an iPhone and film himself having sex with his owner. Stop this bullshit. Just to stop this shit. That she said she engaged in sexual activities. So what are you saying? You don't make any sense. Sex with whom? The dog or a human? I'm confused. She admits to having engagement in sexual activities, but claimed she didn't lock or force the dog. What does the lock got to do with it? What the hell am I reading? This is ridiculous. During the search warrant of her home, August 22, they say they found the dog. She claims she came across the child pornography in a group on Telegram. I don't even know what the hell that is. An encrypted chat application, but denied saving or downloading any child pornography. Well, it's encrypted for a reason, the Telegram. So what were you doing over there? You just found it, you said. Okay. Brenna stated she accessed Telegram with her iPhone 12. And when she first started to use the Telegram and WhatsApp, the programs automatically downloaded the media she viewed on the apps and saved to her phone, the arrest report stated. So see, that doesn't make any sense. Naturally, you go into your Google search. If anybody was to go in your Google search, okay, they'll see what you searched. Naturally, they could judge you accordingly. They don't know if you're researching something or it's something you're just interested in. But the point is, if you save it, you gotta do that yourself. It don't save itself. It could be in the search engine, but it ain't gonna save itself. And the videos, you made that. The dog didn't film you and it having sex. You did that. So I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, she just stumbled across the kitty porn. Well, then who filmed you and the dog having sex? The dog? Oh, I can see that, can I? The dog walking. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm about to scream. Stop this stupid stuff. Oh, this is why I was laughing to myself this morning, because I'm not believing this. And just the audacity to lie to the detectives. They've been investigating you for years, and you're going to sit here and act like, oh, I didn't lock the dog up. Well, where the hell is that coming from? You locking the dog up. So what else were you doing to the damn dog? This is ridiculous. Oh, I just stumbled across the kitty porn. Oh, no. I didn't film me and the dog 153 times. Oh, the dog, he just grabbed my iPhone and started filming himself taking advantage of me. Okay, I've had enough now. All right. So once again, she found this information on the Telegram. She's, denouncing that she downloaded any of this media. She said they automatically downloaded themselves from the Telegram and WhatsApp. Montgomery admitted to then transmitting 3 videos of child sexual abuse material on Snapchat during a role play conversation. Once again, admitted to then transmitting 3 videos of child sex abuse material on Snapchat. Why would you be putting this on Snapchat? So Snapchat, you need your ass beat. So yeah, you don't need to be viewed either. They already said the Chinese are using Snapchat to spy on us. So fuck Snapchat. And this stupid heifer here, she's role playing with sex. This is stupid. I don't even know what I'm reading. Oh God, I'm getting pissed off now. Admitted to transmitting 3 videos of child sex abuse material on Snapchat. Okay? So Snapchat don't need to be around. Because somebody should have been monitoring that, okay? During a role play conversation. So obviously she's on Snapchat putting the porn up there. However that goes. Because I don't even really know what the fuck that means. Las Vegas Justice Court Judge Harmony Letizia set her bail at $15,000 with high-level electronic monitoring on May 21st. Letizia ordered Montgomery to have no contact with minors, no internet access, no contact with animals. Yeah, no minors, no animals, no internet access. Montgomery had not posted bail and was still in custody in the Clark County Detention Center as of June 18th. Police said the investigation began after they received a cyber tip report from the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children regarding a Snapchat user who was transmitting 3 files of child abuse material in 2021. So obviously you came up on the radar of the missing, of the Exploited Child Network, National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. So somebody was monitoring the Snapchat, you dodo bird. On a Facebook page under the name Brenna Montgomery, several photos of a dog were posted February 24th with the caption, "Although it saddens me, I realize now it's best chance for both of us. New beginnings will bring immense joy and success, especially for dearest Piper. I'm no longer able to provide care with the care and attention she deserves. Home is where her heart is. Let's help Piper find her sanctuary. If you have any leads or recommendations for trustworthy adoption centers, please let me know." So I'm assuming February 24th would be this year. So I have a problem with the government. Why have you had this heathen running around for 3 years under investigation with child pornography and sleeping with a dog? You're kind of 3 years late. Because now you got to ask yourself, has she been around children? Abused any children? I'm done with that subject. I'm done. Next, Mr. Joe Biden. Ooh, Lord have mercy. Joe. What we gonna do with you? CBS News is the source, everybody. Oh my God. Luna says we'll never essay a human being. Well, we know they hunch animals, and they will hunch your little foot and leg because they're in heat, but still, this is come on.
Last year, our chief
It's
investigative
bullshit.
correspondent Jim Axelrod spoke with Steve Morose, who was an Air Force officer in the late 1980s before the military found out he was gay and put him on trial.
You were looking at 17 years in prison. I was 5 years per sodomy charge and a year per county charge. I thought my military life was over, but in that moment, I thought my life was over.
Jim Axelrod joins us now for more. Jim, why these pardons now?
Very good question, Jeff. And here in Washington, no matter who you talk to and ask that question to, they say, it's a little unclear. I suppose the skeptics could point out that we're just a few months away from a razor-tight election and that this is going to be the kind of action that might shore up some support for President Biden. The fact of the matter is, Jeff, that he could have done this at any point over the last 3.5 years, actually. So a lot of people asking why, in fact, asking administration officials why, and really the answer is quite unclear still at this point.
Jim, we all remember that very powerful interview you did with Steve Morose when he talked about his experience, what happened to him. What would a pardon mean now for Steve?
A really important question, Jeff, because Steve Morose right now is a convicted felon. He did 2 years at Leavenworth. And if this pardon were to come through for him, you got to realize, as a felon, he has no access to his VA benefits, including health care. He can't apply for federal jobs. When he goes and applies for an apartment, for a loan, he has to explain anytime there's a background check why he is a convicted felon. If he applies for this and it is granted, all of that goes away and goes away immediately. So clearly it's life-changing. When we approached the Pentagon a year ago and asked them about Stephen Rose's case and said, well, what can be done? They said, really, the only thing that he could ever hope for would be a presidential pardon, but it was expressed to us as if it was the longest of all long shots. Mm-hmm. And here we are a year later, and that's exactly what he is potentially in line to receive.
You gotta wonder why it's taking so long. Didn't ask a lot of things.
So what has this Air Force ex-military person been doing all this time for monies? Incarcerated for 2 years. Has the chance now to have that record basically expunged? How do you all feel about that? President Biden pardoning ex-military members under the former gay ban. Let's go to the community page and weigh in. The link is in the chat if you want to join the Queen for this multifaceted live stream of various topics. We're talking about a dirty husband. We're talking about a dirty woman arrested for bestiality and child pornography possession. Mr. Biden and this gay ban, ex-military, giving them pardons finally. Right, wrong, what? We're also going to talk about a racist staffer who left a voicemail on a black woman's phone, didn't realize she hadn't hung up, and left a very nasty message assuming she was white trash, which is so ironic. She's white and she's calling somebody white trash. We're talking about all that during this live stream. And also the ex-couple from Georgia who went missing a few days ago have been found deceased in a vehicle here in Tennessee, in Cosby, Tennessee, near Gatlinburg. Prayers to the families. About freaking time. Well, some people say yay, some people say no. Going to go to my community page and give you the business. Should President Biden have pardoned ex-veterans on former gay ban? 63% yes, 17% no, 7% not sure, 13% don't care. 5 comments. S. Lee says absolutely. May says hello, Queen. Hey, Queen. Yes, they served our country just like every other veteran. They also deserve respect and honor for doing so. Their service has nothing to do with their sexual orientation. All veterans serve and should be acknowledged and appreciated equally for doing so. Just my opinion. Be blessed. Aristocrat says I couldn't hit the yes button hard enough. Okay. Queen replied, tell me why. Aristocrat replied, if you served our country, I thank you. If you're willing to give your life for this country, I owe you respect. Not a damn ban because of who you love. So 63% of you say, yes, it was right for Biden to pardon these individuals. 17% no, 7% not sure, 13% of you don't give a damn. All right, next topic. Once again, it's prayers for Taylor Casey, missing in the Bahamas. That's more content I need to bring you. I've also brought you a short pertaining to Miss Savannah Chrisley, whining and crying about her mother coming home soon, hopefully. Julie Chrisley's criminal whatever trial's been vacated or sentenced. They believe there's no proof of, the judge believes there's no proof before 2007 of her involved in a fraud, blah, 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 blah. Also, I brought content pertaining to child rapists in Tennessee may soon face the death penalty. Puff Diddy has been let go by his powerhouse law firm. Bringing you all the said updates. Brought you commentary yesterday about a West Virginia couple enslaving their little black children inside of their home, shed, barn. Supreme Court also banning people from sleeping on public property here in Tennessee and other states. And a little black boy is missing out of Indiana from former NFL player, Mr. Muir. He and his wife, child last seen in the company of the wife and a male, left his grandmother's house. Where is he? Don't know. Have no idea. Just bringing you the latest of the stories. Let's go to Chicago. More nonsense. Thank you for joining me. Multifaceted Live. Feel free to go back to the beginning of the live to get the said information. Ooh, sorry about that. Damn. Somebody else want to play, I guess. Good God Almighty. Ooh, got too much going on.
Chicago woman is filing a complaint against a suburban staffing agency alleging discrimination that she overheard by accident.
WJ's Bronner Tomilty joining us in the studio with details. Bronner. Good evening, guys. All of this centers on a voicemail left for a woman named Ashley Chapman. Now, the first part of the voicemail is your standard missed call. The rest is what could potentially land this company in some hot water.
Less than white trash. A lot of things I can't say because I can't cuss, but I just feel less than.
Ashley Chapman, a single mother, speaking today about how she felt following receipt of a voicemail which she alleges came from someone at a suburban staffing agency.
Let's see what Ashley Newman looks like. I think it's like a yeah. You think? You think she's alright? I don't think so. Jamaican or white woman. Yeah, I don't think she's black. I think she's white. Yeah, I think she's white trash.
Chapman is a Chicago native and had just moved home from North Dakota. With 2 kids to provide for her, she was trying to track down a job, so says she enlisted some help from a company.
It was an absolutely repulsive message. And, you know, in cases of employment discrimination, usually you don't find out about why decisions were made. Usually people aren't stupid enough to leave a voicemail with things like this.
The voicemail starts off like any other.
Hi, Ashley.
But the caller appears to not hang up properly. With various inappropriate comments then recorded.
Your baby daddy, really? Yeah, apparently you had some unprotected sex.
Employers should not care whether somebody is married or has children and whether they are married to their kid's father. That's just not a relevant inquiry that employers should even think about, let alone discuss when they are considering whether to hire somebody.
Chapman and her lawyer have now filed a formal charge of discrimination with the Illinois Department of Human Rights, a prerequisite for any potential lawsuit, and they want the company investigated.
What we've alleged in our charge of discrimination is that there's marital status discrimination, that there's gender discrimination, and that there's race discrimination.
Chapman says she even called back in spite of the voicemail, still hoping to be hired.
Because I need a job.
I wouldn't have called back. You better than me, honey.
It wouldn't matter what.
They got cussed the hell out.
But they just took it too far.
It tells us with no job and no apology, accountability is necessary.
That's why I'm doing this. So they won't feel like they have to bite their tongue or feel like they gotta just hide from the world because I'm sorry. But that's what I'm doing. So her daughter ain't gotta worry about, you know, if she should speak up for herself.
And we haven't named the company as they have not been investigated, but again, that complaint has been filed with the State Department of Human Rights. With Chapman and her lawyer asking officials to take a thorough look at what's happened.
Let's go back again and hear what was said.
call. The rest is what could potentially land this company in some hot water.
Less than, white trash. A lot of things I can't say because I can't cuss, but I just feel less than.
Ashley Chapman, a single mother, speaking today about how she felt following the receipt of a voicemail which she alleges came from someone at a suburban staffing agency.
Let's see what Ashley Newman looks like. I'm thinking it's like a reckless. You think? You think she's alright? I don't think so. I don't think so. Jamaican look like.
Let me see. I'm trying to see what they're saying.
Following receipt of a voicemail which she alleges came from someone at a suburban staffing agency.
Let's see what Ashley Newman looks like. I'm thinking it's like a reckless. You think? You think she's alright? I don't think so. I don't think so. Jamaican look like. Yeah, I don't think she's black. I think.
I can't tell what the other lady's saying because she keeps talking over here. What the other lady's trying to say, what her race is, and I can't hear good. So what did the other lady think the race of the person was? Black? Must be, because she said, no, I don't think so.
White? Yeah, I think she's white trash.
Chapman is a Chicago native and had just moved home from North Dakota. With 2 kids to provide for, she was trying to track down a job, so says she enlisted some help from a company.
It was an absolutely repulsive.
Well, Ashley, I don't know why you would call this company back. Some people might have played them the voicemail back. Like, oh, here, I want to play something for you. This is what you think of your people? Because frankly, they're talking about their own race. They're white, allegedly. I'm assuming. Don't know. So let's say they're white. Well, they're talking about their own damn race. But then somehow the conversation comes up about baby daddy. So now we're going from how somebody sounds, don't think they're what? African American, they sound white. So how do we get from that to baby daddy? I'm confused. I don't know what the hell they're talking about.
The message. And, you know, when in cases of employment discrimination, usually you don't find out about why decisions were made. Usually people aren't stupid enough to leave a voicemail with things like this.
The voicemail starts off like any other.
Hi, Ashley.
But the caller appears to not hang up properly.
I did.
With various inappropriate comments then recorded.
Your baby daddy is married, and apparently you've had some unprotected sex.
Employers should not care whether.
Why are they talking about the baby daddy is married and you had unprotected sex? Where is this coming from? I don't understand. If you don't know what the person looked like in the race, why is this a conversation? I'm confused. Where is all this baby daddy stuff coming from? You weren't about the being white trash. You're talking about the baby daddy being married or something and somebody having unprotected sex. You're just there to staff the people to go out to the company. It's up to the company if they want to keep the people or not. So what is your personal deal? Because you two are bored. Because you're paper shufflers. You don't do anything but sit on your ass and shuffle paper and type shit in the computer. Basically, I guess Ashley should be doing your job. This is what happens when you're running your mouth. I would say something really derogatory, but I'm not going to. When you're running that, you know what, sucker. Yeah, I said that. And you didn't hang up the damn phone. This is why it shouldn't have mattered what she sounded like. Now, I understand sometimes people don't sound the way we think they should sound when answering a phone, or we hear their voice message and we be like, woo, Lord, who is this? Because I've said it a couple of times, my damn self calling places. I can think of some place that called me the other day and the person answering the phone and he just sounded, I wanted to say he sound ghetto to me. You're working for a business, medical professional. You need to sound like you got some damn sense. Now, naturally, I didn't say it to him because I wanted to. I was groggy when he called and I was like, who is this? because he didn't sound professional on the phone, to my taste. But I didn't say anything. All I can say is, when I get to the appointment, you better act like you got some damn sense. Yeah, y'all know how Queen is. Because he seemed like he was getting a little too personal, too, all up in Queen business. You know, what do I always say? Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. But yes, representation is everything. But the point is, she's not working for the company. Ashley's trying to get a job. So you should have just left your voicemail, told her to call back, whatever you had to say, and then hung up the phone. Make sure you hung up before you start worrying about what Ashley looked like and sound like. So when you said, let's see what she looked like, what were you getting ready to do? Google her? What were you going to try to find her? There's probably 1,000 people with her name from here to New York. How are you going to find out which one she was? This is crazy to me. See, this is a messy Karen right here. Instead of her doing her damn job, she worried about how somebody looked. Well, when she come in, you'll see how she looks. How about that? Oh, maybe she already got the paperwork where they got the copy of the ID. So she go shuffle through the paper to see if she white, black, Mexican, or whatever. Well, if you look through the paperwork, you will see she's African American. Ting, ting, ting. There'd be no need of a discussion. At least off a voicemail anyway.
Somebody is married or has children, and whether they are married to their kid's father. That's just not a relevant inquiry. That
we passed finding her a job, honey.
Even think about, let alone discuss, when they are considering whether to hire somebody.
Chapman and her lawyer have now filed a formal charge of discrimination with the Illinois Department of Human Rights, a prerequisite for any potential lawsuit, and they want the company investigated.
What we've alleged in our charge of discrimination is that there's marital status discrimination, that there's gender discrimination, and that there's race discrimination.
Chapman says she even called back in spite of the voicemail, still hoping to be hired.
Because I need a job. I need money for my kids. It wouldn't matter where I work. People make mistakes, but they just take it too far.
But tells us with no job and no apology, accountability is necessary.
That's why I'm doing this. So they won't feel like they have to bite their tongue or feel like they gotta just hide from the world because I'm sorry. But that's what I'm doing this. So my daughter ain't gotta worry about, if she should speak up for herself.
And we haven't named the company as they had not been investigated, but again, that complaint has been filed with the State Department of Human Rights, with Chapman and her lawyer asking officials to take a thorough look at what's happened.
What is the name of the company? Have they been notified of this lawsuit? Have they rendered some type of apology? A job? Compensation? Will they settle? What's going to be the 411? And will they fire these ladies for talking about the clients? Because what you have to ask yourself, if you've done this to her, you've done this to other people who have applied. You have looked at their photographs, personal information, their resume, application, and you've talked about them as well. You possibly also have done the same thing with a voicemail. Thought you hung up, or who's to say they didn't do it deliberately? Kept talking so she could hear, so she wouldn't come back. Stay woke. We have a lot of dirty people out here. And this may be just a really dirty Karen. She deliberately called this woman and kept talking on the phone, knew she didn't hang up, in hopes that the girl wouldn't come back. The woman wouldn't come back for a job. Could this be just an ignorant heifer? I don't know. Because what I was wondering if she already had her personal information in the computer and on file. Because if so, they'd already know what her race is. You'd know when she came in. Oh, I forgot we're in a world of everything done online. I forgot about that. Everything's online now. What's going to be the fallout with this company? Who is this company? Is it a major staffing company in the United States, the general area of Chicago, the suburbs? Do these women still have jobs? When confronted, did they apologize? Were they immediately fired? What's the 411? And will there be compensation for this young lady and her child? She was very tearful-eyed in this press conference. I found it interesting that she went to North Dakota. That's an interesting place to move for an African-American woman, because you don't hear of a lot of black people living in North Dakota, South Dakota. So I wonder what led her there. Just curious. But she moved back to the Chicago area trying to find work. Lord have mercy. And she stumbled across the wrong staffing company. There you have it. WGN News is the source of that information. So we talked about the two bodies found up here in Tennessee from Georgia, the young people that were a couple. They were a couple, and obviously the woman lured him into the car and brought him this long way, unalived him and herself, Chandler and Miss Reagan. Nevada woman arrested for bestiality and child pornography. Racist staffer leaving a nasty comment on a woman's voicemail, black woman's voicemail, assuming she was white trash. Biden has pardoned ex-military members under the gay ban that no longer exists. Feel free to go over to my community page and take those polls. And the last subject matter is pertaining to a very dirty, dirty husband. Wow, wait till you hear this story. Thank you for joining me. KLFY News 10 is the source.
When we think of with you.
Just a second, everybody. Well, we'll see who wants that job, though.
His mistress.
Given the word, the public record, when you sing that ring, guess what?
Sorry about that. I don't know why these articles, they always jump on before I... It's like they jump ahead of me. All right, everybody, here we go. Beware, ladies. Think you know your spouse? Maybe not.
In Vermilion Parish, a Texas woman says she's going through a mix of emotions after learning her husband was allegedly part of a scheme to get a fraudulent divorce. News 10's Roderick Taylor reports how the husband's girlfriend allegedly impersonated the wife. It's a story you'll see only on 10.
Sakina Mouton says she and her husband have 2 kids and have been married for 12 years. She thought all was well in her marriage, only to discover her husband allegedly got a fake divorce with her. She says the other shocking part is her husband's mistress allegedly pretended to be her.
I feel like I'm on a Lifetime movie trying to put this puzzle together to see how did it even took place, how did the attorney give the information without my identification.
Mouton, who now lives in Texas, says she has been traveling back and forth to Louisiana, gathering information on how she could be divorced.
My husband did not contact me, told me anything about he wanted to divorce me and tell me that he filed for a divorce. If he wanted a divorce, I would have gave it to him.
He says she never received a subpoena or was present in court proceedings. She tells News 10 she learned of the divorce through his mistress.
Given the word, the public record, when you sing that ring, guess what? I'm about to be married to him yet. So you can get ready. I'll give you an invitation.
Mouton says according to the state and her attorney, she and her husband are still married. However, according to St. Mark Parish, the court did grant a divorce, but it's not finalized. The accused mistress is LaShonda Pope. She was arraigned in Vermilion Parish Courthouse Thursday morning for first-degree injuring public records.
If it would have been done the proper way, but it was not done properly because on the paperwork that I finally gathered after 2 years, there's a whole lot of information on there that is not correct.
She says there was incorrect spelling of names, birthdays, and addresses.
I just want peace and I want justice to be served because anybody that knows the law knows that how long it takes for a divorce to take place, especially with kids. I really don't know how to feel that a person could actually steal your identity and get away with it.
News 10 reached out to Pope and Mouton's husband, who both declined to add comments. We also reached out to their attorney, who declined to comment. In Vermilion Parish, Roderick Taylor, KLFY News 10.
Vermilion Parish, Louisiana. It's in here. Some people have some negative things to say about that on Facebook commentary. Sir, What is your problem? What is your problem? Kendrick Paul. You were married to this lady, Miss Motar. My understanding, you're still married legally. So you obviously been having an affair with this Miss LaShonda Pope. And Miss Pope, you are a dirty little beast. Leaving that lady that message last year on her phone, winding her up about looking at a ring and so on and so forth. You have committed fraud, ma'am. Tampering with legal documents. Personating this Miss Motar, pretending to be his wife, divorcing Mr. Kendrick, when you are not Miss Motar. You spelled her name wrong, tequila. You spelled it the way of the liquor. That's not how her name is spelled. You got the children's birthdays wrong, addresses wrong, documents sent to your address. You are a real fool. You see, the key to doing wrong, especially when you're dealing with documents, you never have the documents sent to your house and you know you fraudulently forged the documents, ma'am, and stood before a magistrate pretending to be the wife. So you are an utter fool. And I pray this woman gets justice, that she's paid in full from her husband and Miss LaShonda Pope. So what you need to remember, Miss Pope, is that what you do in the dark will surely come to light, which it has. And if he has done it to her, he will also do it to you. You are a fool. He's been married to her for 12 years. Whatever problems they had, it's none of your damn business. But I guess, Kendrick, you decided to put her in the business. And you are a sick puppy yourself to allow a woman to stand before a judge and pretend to be your wife to sign divorce documents. You two are tit for tat, two peas in a pod. But we know this probably won't last because rarely does it ever. And the fact you left her a nice little voicemail telling her that they're divorced, that you all divorced, and you know you fraudulently pretended to be her, that's even more evidence besides your stupid signature fingerprints on the documents. Boy, are we dumb. Dumb, dumb, and dumber. As the woman says, I would have gladly given him a divorce. Oh, hell yeah, he can get it soon as he pay me all of mine. Oh, yeah, he getting ready to pay me child support, alimony, and suffering, misery, everything. And Miss Pope, you too. Miss Pope, do you have children? Oh, I hope not. Imagine you as somebody's mother. This is what message you would send to your children. Hey, go pretend to be somebody else to help them get a divorce while cheating with him and committing adultery. Now, you are definitely the epiphany of need to stay in your damn lane. Wow, 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 wow. Everybody, shut your mouth. Let's go into the belly of the beast, get a little more information pertaining to this debacle coming out of Texas and Louisiana. Thank you for joining me. Go sign a document and don't even spell the person's name right. Who does this? Nobody but a fool. Don't even spell the children's names correctly or birthdays correctly. Lord have mercy. Please go to YouTube Q and check out Queen's upload and shorts. I did a lot of shorts today pertaining to breaking news and commentary. WGNO ABC New Orleans is the source. A woman is reeling after finding out her husband of 12 years is trying to get away with a fraudulent divorce. Tequila, spelled Tekela, Motar, is going through a mix of emotions after learning her husband, Kendrick Paul Francis, was allegedly part of a scheme to get a fraudulent divorce. Another surprise is Moulton claims her husband's mistress, LaShonda Pope, allegedly impersonated Moulton to get the divorce granted. The way I'm feeling right now is insane. Hold on, jumped off of there. Jesus, what is the deal? I really don't know how to feel that a person could actually steal your identity and get away with it, says Moulton, describing a feeling of torture. Mouton now lives in Texas, where she and her husband have been married for 12 years in November. They have 2 children together, ages 9 and 14. Mouton said that for the past 2 years, she has been traveling back and forth to the Acadian region to gather information on how she got divorced. So obviously he went to another jurisdiction. I believe that would be Louisiana to get this fraudulent divorce done. My husband did not contact me, told me anything about he wanted to divorce me, she said. He didn't tell me that he filed for divorce. If he wanted a divorce, I would have given it to him. Mouton said she never received a subpoena or was present at any court proceedings for the alleged divorce. Upon the paperwork, I couldn't get actual copies of the paperwork due to the fact I had to pay court fees. And the only thing they let me do was to look at the paperwork. And when I saw that it was a subpoena to LaShonda Pope's address in Abbeville, Louisiana, which I was in the state of Texas since 2022, and I gathered this information and got an attorney. An attorney looked at all the information and proceed with the matter, said Mouton. In a voice recording shared with News 10, Mouton tells Pope, Mouton said Pope tells her, "You have been divorced. It's public record." It continues as she curses Mouton out and adds, "Guess what? You see that ring? Guess what? I'm about to be married to him next. So you can get ready. I'll get you an invitation." According to the state and Mouton's attorney, she and Francis are still married. However, according to St. Martin Parish, the divorce was considered fraudulent. The court granted the divorce but was not finalized. Pope had an arraignment at the Vermilion Parish Courthouse Thursday morning in front of Commissioner Andre Duguay for a first-degree injury public record. She pled not guilty. Mouton said that the paperwork she gathered had a lot of incorrect information, from the spelling of names, children's birthdays, and wrong addresses. My husband's name is Kendrick Paul Francis, and it's stated Kendrick Paul Sr., she said. My name is Tequila. On the paperwork, it's spelled tequila with a Q-U-I-L-A, like the liquor. My kids' birthdays were incorrect, and he had 4 other kids that were there, and their ages were also correct. My address was incorrect. So who are these other children that were on the documents? I'm very confused. Does he have some more children that Tequila don't know about? I'm confused. It says, and he had 4 other kids that were there, and their ages were also incorrect. My address was incorrect. When asked if she discussed the fraudulent divorce with her husband since the discovery, Mouton said they talked about it over the phone, but claimed Francis was aggressive and never completed the conversation without hanging up the phone on her. I feel like I'm on a Lifetime movie trying to put the puzzle together to see how did it even took place, Moat said. How did the attorney provide the information without my identification? I know my rights, and according to anything that you sign that is legal, it has to be an identification, has to be present, and I was not present. I just want peace, and I want justice to be served, because anybody that knows the law knows how long it takes for divorce to take place, especially with kids. According to my attorney, we were supposed to file for separation for a year legally. With kids involved, it would have taken another 6 months for commercial property and spousal support. It would take us exactly like a year and a half to 2 years. 10 reached out to Pope and Mouton's husband, who declined to comment. They reached out, to Miss Pope and Mouton's husband, but they declined to comment. We also reached out to Francis' attorney on the divorce, Robert R. Stearns Jr., who declined to comment. Pope's next court appointment is September 19th at 9 a.m. in front of Judge Thomas Frederick. Well, now, and there you have it. WGNO, ABC News is the source. So what we have here is a dirty husband and a dirty mistress who attempted to play a dirty game. Laura, what are you confused about? What are you confused about? We have a dirty husband and a mistress who played a dirty game trying to get a divorce. Obviously, he's probably given legal information to the mistress for her to have gotten an ID, state ID, in Tequila's name. That's the only way that was going to work. Unless somebody had connections with a judge, a magistrate in the courthouse, for him to sign the paperwork without her giving her ID. And yes, you need to show ID to say, yes, I'm Susie May. I'm trying to divorce my husband. quick pro quo, divorce, blah, 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 out the door, pay you a little couple of dollars and keep it moving. So that's probably what happened. They went and got a quick, no contest divorce, made up some names of children, this and that, and she probably had a fake ID under Tequila's name. I won't doubt it. Exactly what happened. But what I'm trying to understand is how was Tequila notified? That's where I'm confused. I don't really get an understanding on that. How she was notified and the fact they want her to pay some money to look at documents or whatever, that don't make any sense to me. Why would I need to pay to look at documents? It's allegedly about me. But I forgot. We're in the world of people needing money. So anything you do as far as a criminal record, background check, whatever, you need to get one ran, everything costs at the clerk's office. So will she be awarded alimony, child support? I hope so. What's going to happen with Miss Pope in September when she goes to court? What will be her fine and restitution? Hopefully some jail time. Teach her a lesson about pretending to be people, pretending to be the wife, and signing a false divorce decree. I wonder how long these two have been having sex. Because I find it interesting they exacted this crime in another state, which sits right next door to Texas, Louisiana. She has an address in Louisiana. So now you got to ask the question, what was going on in the marriage? Were they legally separated? Obviously not. How long he's been gone from the house? Because he had to have been gone to exact this crime to be in Louisiana to get that divorce signed with the mistress. So how long has he been living in Louisiana with the mistress? Does the mistress have children? What does she do for a living? What does Kendrick do for a living? How many children total do they have together? 2, they say. So who are these other children that were mentioned on the false document? I am utterly confused at that part. The other children? The fact they're spelling all the names wrong? You're screwing this man and you don't know how to spell his children's names? Well, shut your mouth. Because you probably didn't get to that part of the relationship, did you now, LaShonda? LaShonda, you've been a naughty girl. You know you're going to get some payback for this. Oh, my. Now everybody in town knows you will forge your name on a document. Forge somebody's name on a document to get what you want. Shut your mouth. Exactly. Now imagine these children have to look at their father and say, damn, you hate my mother this much that you would get your mistress to pretend to be our mother to sign her name on fake documents. But this is what the world is made of. And indeed, she's right. This is a Lifetime movie. Running neck to neck with Tubi. Take your pick. Take your pick. And I won't doubt somebody will probably come to her. Honey, we want to write a book about you. We want to do a Lifetime segment, oxygen segment on your life. And you can best believe there's more to this story because there always is. You don't wake up after 12 years using somebody to sign a fake document. He's probably done other nefarious deeds and fraudulent deeds as well. Because if you would do this, you've done some other things with your taxes, welfare, hood, work, secure apartment, house, bank loans. You all better pay attention. Just imagine if Tequila has good credit. Oh, shit. Well, now. Well, now. Just imagine Miss Tequila has good credit and what they've done since he's been Mr. Kendrick living over here fraternizing with Miss LaShonda. Oh, my sookie. Tequila, my advice to you is to go get you a report on your credit and sign up for one of those companies that monitors your credit and flag your name if it ever is applied on an application for a loan or a credit card. Because I got a feeling they've done some other stuff in your name, ma'am. You can believe that. Because as I said, you don't wake up doing these type of things. You've done other stuff. And he possibly has been doing other stuff while she's been married to him, because this is dirty. I don't know what problems they had. I don't know if she knew that they had problems, because you don't hear that in that news interview. But they had some major problems. But then we also know that you can be in the dark in your own household, in your own relationship with your spouse, your boyfriend, girlfriend. People don't have to tell you everything they're doing and the moves they're making. And many people have been bamboozled and hoodwinked by their mates. People have come home to nothing in their house, no furniture, no nothing. I remember a black lady had a story, it was on Facebook. She came home one day and this black man had cleared out the apartment. He didn't leave her nothing but, I believe, a bed frame. Now that's some cold SHIT. Imagine that. Being out, gone all day, working hard, to come home to an empty apartment. There's nothing left but your wedding dress hanging on the door and your makeup. Hello? Anybody hear the queen? Imagine coming home from a hard day's work. Or let me get it right. She was out of town on a trip, because I think she worked out of town. So she was on a business trip. Yes, let me jog my memory correctly. Business trip, she comes home, and all of the stuff inside of the house is gone. Woo, that's a dirty black man right there. Oh, and by the way, Ms. Pope, she's pled not guilty in court. Don't let me forget about that. Oh, so that wasn't you, Shonda? You didn't sign that document? You didn't stand before a magistrate and pretend to be this black lady? You also you really need your ass in jail, because that means you've had to get some documentation pretending to be tequila. So that means you also been messing with the Department of Motor Vehicles. Ting, 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 ting. Oh, shit. Come on with it, Queen. Oh, the plot thickens. You ain't just signed no damn divorce decree. You had to use a ID to show you were tequila. Unless you or Mr. Kendrick got some type of special relationship with a judge, clerk, to where they didn't need your ID. And that means you got fraud with the Department of Motor Vehicles. False documentation to get the driver license. Having access to a fake identification. That's another charge. Oh, my. So we're past just a document. So let's find out. She's messed around and took documents to get a fake driver license and or state ID. Didn't hear that mentioned in the article. Was she able to walk in and just sign off by saying she's that person, which I find that very hard to believe. Nobody at the clerk's office would ask her for identification. But we know strange things do happen. How long has he been planning this divorce from tequila, Mr. Kendrick? Kendrick, how long have you been planning this fiasco, this runaway groom business? Were you ever going to tell your children that you flew the coop? How long have you been sleeping with LaShonda? Shonda, do you have any children? Gee, I hope not. Because you are definitely not mommy of the year. And you're not going to be wifey of the year either, because let me tell you something. You two are getting ready to pay the piper for this. You should best believe what goes around comes around, sugar. And you're going to have a mighty, mighty bad day. Because guess what? If he did it to tequila, he will do it to you. Ting, ting, ting. So just as quick as he got tangled up with you, he will tangle his ding dong with somebody else. And the fact you had the audacity to leave a voicemail on this woman's phone, bragging about a ring and a divorce, you are bold. You have committed fraud, and you are going to call the person on the phone and admit you are part of the fraud. Now, you may not have said, yeah, I pretended to be you and signed that paper, but you're acknowledging that she is divorced. And you are part of that fraud. You are a bold heifer. LaShonda. Don't let Queen find you on Facebook, honey, because you know you're going to be public enemy number one. Now, what them good folks of Louisiana thinking about you right now? Oh, that's a dirty old black heifer. She been sleeping with that married man and then went into that courthouse pretending to be tequila. Shut your mouth. LaShonda. Lord, where is Greg Brady when you need him? I'm dead. I've brought you all a few stories during this live stream pertaining to Mr. Biden, President Biden, who will be pardoning ex-gay service members, a racist staffer leaving a nasty message on someone's voicemail thinking she had hung up, calling them white trash, and it happened to be a black woman. This dirty husband and mistress coming out of Louisiana, doctoring fake divorce documents. And then a Nevada woman who's been accused of having possession of child pornography and videos of her having sex with her own dog. What in the hell is really going on? Oh no, she don't need to run. Let her stay right where she is. Shasha don't need to run. No. Let that heifer sit right where she is. No. Let Shasha stay right where she is, baby. She thinks she got a winner. They so desperate for each other. He tried to get out of paying alimony and child support. That's why they fraudulently doctored up this bullshit with this paperwork. But let me tell you, like I say, what goes around comes around. He gonna have to pay the piper because now the judge is probably gonna give it to him. Oh, you want to play with divorce decrees and doctor paperwork, you and your girlfriend. I got a surprise for both of you. They're gonna make sure he ain't gonna even have $2 to live off of every month when he gets done paying child support and alimony. He's just sealed it up for court. Hopefully the judge will do the lady right. There won't be no technicalities because it sounded like they've got to live separately before filing paperwork for a divorce. And I believe in the state of North Carolina, you can't file for divorce there, from my knowledge, unless you can prove you've been living outside of the house for 1 year. I know this personally because of someone that I was friends with. She had to go through this in filing for divorce from her raggedy ass husband. And let me tell you, he took her for her whole house. Why she let him have her house, that's a whole nother story. Because I wouldn't let you have shit. I'm not going to mess up my credit because I want to get out this marriage. We would have stayed in that house together until one of us folded. And guess what? It wouldn't have been I. She had a whole bum in her house with his son and his uncle. So I keep trying to tell people, you better take care of yourself. Because you can get yourself wrapped up in a situation to where you feel forced out of your own life, your own house. And I told her, you are better than me. Because I'd have made sure that Negro got up out of there by all means necessary. Yes, let me spin this to you before I check out of here. Because I like my version of this story. When this child told me about this man being a notorious whore and sleeping around with everything in Charlotte, all I could think of was 1,000 ways of revenge on this heathen. 1,000 ways. I told her, I said, oh, there were ways of getting rid of him by not unaliving him. I would have took a trip, number one. Baby, come on, we're going to go cross seas. We're going to go over here to Oregon. Anywhere, I don't care where it was. New Mexico, who gives a damn? We're going to take a trip. Are y'all following the queen? We're going to take a trip. I'd have booked us a flight way across the country. But there would have been only one person with a round trip, and that would have been Queen. Stay woke. And I would have walked through that airport with him like I was boarding the flight. And I would have turned around when he was not looking and walked my black ass out of that airport and went home and unloaded everything out of that damn house. Ting, ting, ting. Somebody don't hear me. Somebody don't hear me. I would have definitely doubled back, and I would have already had people at the house waiting on standby, because when you're getting ready to exact revenge, you got to have everything lined up. There cannot be no mishaps, no waiting, nothing. There would have been Pookie, Ray, Bubba already at the house packing his shit up as soon as I walked out the door with my husband. Stay woke. And somebody would have already had his shit outside, outdoors, on a truck, getting ready to get taken to the city dump. And when I got back to the house, there would have been a locksmith waiting on me. And he would have changed every lock at this house. All security systems, alarms would have been changed. There would have been nothing that belonged to him. Not a camper, not a shoe, not a suitcase, nothing. So when that black motherfucker made his way back, he couldn't get in. And when he tried to get in, I would be calling 911 to say there's an intruder outside my house trying to break in. Stay woke now. 911, what is your emergency, please? Yes, there's a black man standing out here trying to break in my house. I don't know who he is. Police show up. Ma'am, do you know this man? Oh, yeah. Oh, that's my husband. He left me 6 months ago. I haven't seen him. Ting, ting, ting. Somebody don't hear me. You know you left me in that airport. What are you talking about? I don't know what he's talking about, officer. This man ain't been in his house for months. He has not been here for months. I don't know what he's talking about. See, there are ways of getting rid of people without catching a charge for murder. Number 2, if you didn't want to take your husband cross town, cross seas, and vacate the airport, the trip, and come back and clear all this shit out, you could just move somebody in the house. Kind of like what he did with my friend. By having his uncle and his child there. And she couldn't get him out of her house because the judge said the little boy was in the school system and didn't want to move out the school system, even though he was willed a house by his auntie or some shit. Oh, yeah, North Carolina, rough, honey. I'd have moved somebody else in my house. A whole man. Now, don't get me wrong. Didn't necessarily have to be somebody I'm having sex with, because that would be adultery. But what I'm saying is I would have moved another man in there, such as a cousin, a good friend, and my husband would have got the point. You got to go, because my name is on the deed and yours is not. So you pick up your little Kroger bag and move your uncle and your son over to the house that your auntie left you and get the fuck out my house. Ting, 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 ting. She left her dog behind and a whole house to a bum who couldn't keep up the house. So the mistress was coming around for a little while, and eventually she got tired of fooling with him because he became sick because he was diabetical, and there was left a sick diabetical and a dog. Are y'all following this story? You see, it was never going to work out anyway because he was working for the devil. And I told her that. You had no business leaving your house. That house was given to you by your first husband. Why in the fuck would you let a bum run you out of your house? I don't care how miserable you were. I don't care that you wanted out that marriage. You should have made it hard for him to stay. because eventually he would have left you. There are ways of getting rid of spiders, snakes. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? There are ways of getting rid of creepy crawlers. And that's all she had to do was get him out. He wanted to stay in there and abuse you and use you, never keep a job, move all these people in the house. You paying all this money for yourself, a dog, a bum, an uncle, a child. Everybody would have came home and the motherfucker would have had a bed to sleep in. I don't care that I like the uncle, but I would have told him, I'm sorry, sir, but you can't stay here. Me and your nephew are not working out, and this is not going to work. All these people in this house. This is my house. I own this house. I will gladly help you find a place to live, but you all can't stay here. And that's what she should have told her husband. You can't stay here. This is my house, and I want you out of here. You have brought your son and your uncle here, and you have disrespected me. I've caught you cheating. I don't know how many times. I want you out of my fucking house. If you don't leave this house, I will burn this motherfucker to the ground with you in it. Take your pick. That's why I said there are ways of getting rid of people. And if that means you have to walk around that motherfucker with nails, hammer, boards, do you want to be boarded up in here? Do you want me to pretend you're a squatter? You'll get your ass out of here. Oh, they play dirty games with my friend. Husband came home with the nephew or somebody. They took the keys out the damn U-Haul truck. Now she's moving out of her own house and they're hiding the keys to the U-Haul truck. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying to you? She's packing up from her house to get out. And they're stealing the U-Haul truck keys. You know why? Because he knew that once she left that house, he was never going to be able to stay there to keep it up. I need her here. She has the job. Her name's on the deed. I know she's going to pay the water, the lights, the mortgage, so on and so forth. I need her here. That's why I told her, you could have gotten rid of those people out of your house. You didn't know how to do it properly. You should have checked the law to know that you had to be living separately before filing for divorce. You should have made a way to get him out of your house. You should have moved somebody in your house. Trust me, another man ain't going to stay in a house with another man. Hell no. That's what she should have done. She should have moved another man in her house. I don't care who the man was. Could have paid somebody to stay there. Make him think that's your boyfriend. He would have gotten out that house. First time he seen that Negro walk by in his drawers, oh, hell yeah, he got up out of that. What the hell is this? And I would have said, what you mean? What you mean what this is? It's my boyfriend. You got a problem? He can't stay up in here. I'm the husband. Oh, no, baby, you forfeited that right a long time ago. You got a girlfriend too, right? Okay, then I bet you pack your shit and go stay with her. Ting. Go stay with your girlfriend. You got so many. Choose a box. But you got to get your ass out of here. Oh, hell yeah. He would have got out of there had another man came up in there. Big burly man too. Walking around in his drawers and his boxers. You think he wouldn't have got the hell up out of there? Oh, he would have got up out of there. Because he wouldn't have wanted no smoke. And then let Pookie brought some other friends with him. You think he wouldn't have got all his stuff up out of there the best he could? Uncle, son, and all. I told her, I have heard of a lot of crazy things. But the fact that she had to go to court and argue with a black woman judge about getting this man out of her house, And the judge told her he had to stay because of his son? Didn't want to move the son out of the district? School district? It was unbelievable. And he had another whole house. That's what was so crazy, per her information. His aunt had passed away and left him a home. All he had to do was leave this woman's house and take his uncle and his child and move in that house. But no, he wanted to live in her house because allegedly she had a nice house, 2-level house. It was in a great neighborhood, great district. And he was playing off of that. He was using her. But in the end, guess what? Nobody kept the house because he became sick. My understanding, he went into a nursing home, got some toes amputated. Oh, did I leave that part out? Shut your mouth. That's how the devil takes care of his friends. I'm going to cut some of them toes off. You like creeping around with women. Don't look too good creeping in somebody's bed with them toes missing. Queen, you know that ain't right. Well, I said it. You see, God don't like ugly. This is why you need to watch your footsteps and your blueprint. See, it caught up with him. That's why I told her, you should have never left your house because he was going to have to come out of there one way or the other. His whole life fell apart once she left because the girlfriend left him. He became violently ill. He had no choice but to come out of the house. Checkmate. He had no choice. So she lost her whole house and a dog for nothing. The place she applied didn't allow pets. Of course, she just left the dog really before she even got the other apartment. I told her you should have taken your dog with you. Or you should have took the dog to the pound somewhere. You don't leave a dog with a food. He wasn't going to take care of that damn dog. He didn't love you. You think he's going to love your dog? But this is what happens when you get stressed out and you do not think clear. You make rash decisions. And I'm sure she's not the first person to have done this. She just wanted to be free. But look at the price. You're going to mess up your credit and all that. You could have just stayed there. Been nonchalant. Brought some other people in the house to stay. He would have got tired and he would have left that house. Frankly, there are many things she could have done to have gotten him out. She could have turned the water off, the gas off, the lights off. Everybody listening? You damn right she don't sleep on nobody. He couldn't stay in there if it wasn't no water, wasn't no gas, wasn't no air. Who gonna stay up in there ain't got no air conditioner, no heat? Although it would have cost her some more money in the end to turn it back on, but you all see where I'm going. There are ways to get the creepy crawlers out without having to catch a charge for murder, I'm trying to tell you. She could have turned the water, the power off. He could have came home. What's wrong? The power off. And I would have played crazy. I don't know what you're talking about. Well, the gas ain't paid the water off, is it? I don't know nothing about it. And you think he would have stayed there? He wouldn't have turned all those bills on. He wouldn't have paid a power bill, gas bill, water bill. Of course not. He would have kindly got his son and uncle out of there. And then you just walk right back in your house, change the locks. Two birds with one stone. That's right. You play crazy. They tell you to do that when you go to court. It's the same thing for your house. That's your house. You don't let nobody come in and violate you in your shit. Your apartment, your trailer, I don't care what it is, that's your place. So long as your name is on the deed, the lease, that is your place. And you don't let nobody come in there and violate your space. And I have said this to people 1,000 times. You can talk crazy to me all you want in that motherfucking street. But where I sleep, I will not let you come up in mine and violate me. You don't own the right. And that should be your attitude every day you are in your house, you do not let nobody come in there and disrespect you. You want to talk crazy to me at the pharmacy, talk crazy to me at the job, talk crazy to me at church, but you ain't going to talk crazy to me in my damn house. That ain't going to happen. You get your ass out of here. That's why Queen don't like nobody in her space. You have to be very careful who you let in your space. Because you can get yourself hurt. Just like the story you just heard today of two young people that are now dead. Because boundaries were crossed. Somebody violated the other one in the worst way. You got to know when to fold. So you don't end up a news story. Because she don't understand things could have gone terribly wrong with that fool. He's sleeping around with all these different women. One of those women could have came up and approached her, done something to her. You think they didn't know where she lived? He would be stupid enough to tell the women where he lived. Let me tell you something else about this story. This man has slept with so many women that one day her female cousin asked her would she like to go to the movies. She told her no. She passed. I'm sure somebody in the audience is saying, okay, Queen, where you going with this? I think you know exactly where I'm going. You sure you don't want to go to the movies tonight? Nah, that's okay, I'll pass. So on this fateful night, my friend decided not to go to the movies with her female cousin. Thank God she didn't go. Because when the cousin went into the picture show, who did she see in there? Ting, 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 ting. Her husband with another woman. Shut your mouth. And she approached him. Well, look at here. And she called my friend's name out. Where is such and such? Imagine that conversation. You are in the picture show with another woman across town. That's why you're over there, because you didn't think nobody would see you in there with this mistress, lady of the night, whoever she is. But lo and behold, her first cousin walks in the picture show, and there you are with your girlfriend. Now imagine had my friend gone to the movies that night with her cousin, and all of them are standing there looking at each other in the movie theater. Damn. How about that? What's that song? Turn This Mother Out. You see, you have to be very careful how you treat people. All this sneaking and ducking around, you don't ever know where you're going to be and somebody's going to see you. And you're doing wrong. And I'm sure my friend would have been very hurt. I don't see her as the violent type, popping off. She probably would have never said nothing to him. Just looked and probably just walked out the theater and then cussed and fussed once he got home. But then you got the other type of woman that would have whooped both of their asses up in that damn theater. That's what I'm saying. You play these dirty games, childish games, you'll win childish prizes. There are people right now not alive because of being betrayed, being duped, bamboozled, hoodwinked, used, manipulated, conned, left, divorced. As you saw in the story of the two young people out of Hinesville, Georgia. The young lady could not move on. And she obviously had this guy come out to the car from the gym. And I don't know what she said to him, but he got in that car, and that was his last ride of life. Sometimes it's best to fold. You see signs that a person is not mentally stable. They are violent. They're exacting self-harm or threatening self-harm or harm to you. You need to try to remove yourself from the equation and don't go back. Many people have done it, and that's how people end up dead. That's why they tell you don't ever threaten to leave a person while in their company. You do not know what will set a person off. There's no such thing as what they won't do. You don't threaten a person that you already know is violent. That's stupid. You make a plan, escape plan. And he knew this young man, Mr. Chandler, she was unwrapped because she keyed the car up. Caught him with another young lady. But I don't want to say caught because allegedly he wasn't dating her. So he was doing what grown people do. He was dating, mingling. But then you have to ask yourself the ultimate question, and I didn't touch on this during the live stream earlier tonight. What was the reason that he and Reagan broke up? Because there has to be a reason. Was she threatening suicide when they were dating? Have an argument, she'd pull out a gun, a knife, threaten to hurt herself? Did he become tired of this? I can't handle this, it's too much. This lady's not well. I don't need this. I'm too young for this. I don't know. But something led these two apart. And sadly, they died together by the hands of Miss Reagan. Isn't that interesting? And what is that old saying? If I can't have you, no one can have you. No one will have you. That's a sad saying. I don't even try to role play what happened between those two in that car. But we know it was not good. And I wished Chandler had never got in that car. I wish he had cut her off. Stop talking to her. Stop answering calls, texts. If that means you go somewhere for a while and disappear, you do what you have to do. Because I think a lot of times we take for granted strange and odd behavior. Oh, they'll get over it. They'll move on. Well, she didn't. Maybe that is what should have happened. He went somewhere and played possum. And she couldn't find him. And there was nobody to ask where he was. But see, men don't do that. They don't disappear because of a jealous girlfriend. That's something a woman would do. Up and move, change her job, move out of her house or apartment. Guys don't do that. Even when they see the person is spiraling out of control, acting out violently, they don't move. They may change their phone number, but that's about the most they'll do. Don't answer the door. They'll stop maybe going to their little hangouts. But they're not going to up and move like out of town. Really, that's what he should have done, was move somewhere outside of that little area where they live and told people, I'm not going to tell you where I am, but I will check in with you. I need to get some separation from her. And if that even meant transferring that firefighter's job to another place, department, he should have done that. Because in the end, they should have never been working together, whether they got along or not. And I said that during that upload I did earlier. I don't advise people working together. It is a recipe for disaster. It was a recipe for disaster because the one thing people do not plan on is a jump off. Somebody decides they don't want to be in a relationship anymore. Somebody decides they're tired of the other person. Now you're working at the same job and now somebody don't want to go to work looking at you or vice versa. That is going to be a problem. So see, that was their problem right there. Whether they got along or not. No working together. You see it all the time. when the people don't even live together and they work together. That shit don't work. Because people start sloughing off on the job. They're goofing off. They're not doing their job. They're acting inappropriate. People start talking, gossiping. It causes problems. Now somebody has to hit the hay. Hey, it's got to be you or her. Who's going to go? Now somebody's feeling out of place. They're in their damn feelings. It's a recipe for disaster. And you got to think about that now. What was it like both of them working for the fire department and they were broke up? Ting, ting, ting. Say what? Can you imagine that? Sitting in a fire hall waiting on a fire and two people don't live together no more and they broke up. You could probably cut the tension with a knife. Hell no, this wasn't going to work. He moved back in with his parents. How long were they separated? How long were they broken up? They dated since high school. See? Bad, 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 bad. Usually these type of relationships do not last long. High school romances. Because people change. People want different things. This is why children go off to college. They don't rekindle things with their old mate because they move on. Some move on, and then sometimes they still hold on feelings. But I don't recommend serious relationships for young people. I don't. I don't recommend marriage either for young people. I don't even recommend having children young for this very reason. Because you haven't grown, you haven't lived, you haven't been through anything, you haven't gone anywhere. This is not the 1600s. This is modern day. And there's too much living to do to be tied down to a serious relationship at 23, 24, 22. I don't recommend it. Because you've heard people say this so many times. Well, I only did it because it was expected of me. I didn't want to hurt her feelings. I didn't want to hurt his feelings. But I grew bored. I got tired. I wanted something else. I wanted to date other women. I wanted to date other guys. There's nothing wrong with that. And next thing you know, somebody's cheating on somebody. Somebody's not being truthful. And now you got a new problem. So I don't know if they had any infidelities in their relationship. I don't really know what caused them not to stay together. But I can tell you one thing. If she's had a history of mental issues, suicidal thoughts, that would be one of your main problems. She was not stable. And I can tell you something else. It's going to get real old. Every time you have a fight, a disagreement, a person threatens to kill themselves. Because you have to use deduction. If they're threatening to kill themselves, they can threaten to kill me. Is anybody listening? Say it again, Quinn. If you keep threatening to kill yourself, eventually you're going to threaten to kill me. And that's exactly what happened here. Because she was hopeless. She felt hopeless. She could not cope. And she's had issues for some time that obviously she never got addressed, which that should have been her focus, was bettering herself, not worrying about having a boyfriend. Because you can't have a boyfriend, a dog, cat, when you cannot focus on thyself. You can't take care of thyself. You cannot cater to other people because you're not stable enough to care for others. And a lot of us don't realize that. Hell, I can't take care of my fucking self. How the hell am I going to take care of a kid, take care of a lover, take care of a husband or wife, and I'm jacked up? This is why relationships don't work. This is a tragedy. Because I told myself that today, listening to the story, and I was playing it out in my head, and I said, Lord, have mercy. Just imagine all he went through with her, knowing all her secrets and their conversations, and he probably thought back to his life before, how he met her, why they dated, why they broke up. Did he ever think, I'm going to die in a car with this chick? Can you imagine that thought process when you realize death is knocking at the door? I'm going to die in here with her. What was he thinking that morning when he got up? What was he thinking when she approached him in that Olive Garden with that lady? What was that lady thinking? Hell, I ain't got time for this. Got a crazy ex. Bye, I'm out of here. Because I wouldn't have stayed. If I get ready to sit up here and be eating in public and some woman showing up in a restaurant acting a fool, hey, she can have you. Bye. It's not worth it. Just think about this. She could have killed that girl. We now know she had a gun. She could have shot both of them right there in the Olive Garden. You all better wake up. This could have been a 3-0 tragedy. Because we now know her mindset. I can't live without him. I'm not going to live without him. So she could have easily saw him in there with that girl and shot them in that damn place and killed herself. And you think that girl ain't thinking about that? So you see, this story is way deeper than just her being sick and killing Chandler and killing herself. That other girl now has to live with the fact she sat in that restaurant with this psychopath standing over her going off. And now she knows they're both deceased. So you think she's not thinking to herself today, sweet Jesus, what if she had shot me right here in the Olive Garden? Lord have mercy. You don't know people. And when you see signs that the people talk about self-harm, the best thing you can do is try to get them some help. But I'm going to tell you that you have to worry about yourself. And I think this is why a lot of people fall by the wayside and they're no longer here, such as Chandler. It's because you are too busy worrying about somebody else and not yourself. And it is not cruel to worry about self because you are all you have. And him being kind and nice got him deceased, sadly. And it's not to say that Reagan wouldn't have done what, found him at the gym, restaurant, home, and done it there. Waited till he came outside. She had the propensity. But the point I'm making is he will never know. He will never know. Because he was trying to help this young lady. There's a Reddit report, don't know if it's true, it's saying that Mr. Biden is not seeking re-election. I don't know. I'll come back later tomorrow with confirmation to that information if it is true. But that's my commentary for this live stream. Prayers to Chandler and Reagan's family, the community, friends, and know that this is a cautionary tale that you do not know people. You do not know the mindset of people. You do not know what will set a person off. We see people popping off every day. They're nice, they're kind, they're mild-mannered, but they're also disturbed. And one thing you have to understand about taking a person's life and that owns life is that there's a buildup. You don't wake up overnight contemplating suicide. There's those rare circumstances where people unalive themselves because they have been caught in a crime or crime spree and or fraud, they'll unalive themselves as not to have to go to jail, prison. But there are those who've been contemplating crazy nonsense for some time, and all it takes is that one thing to push them over. Obviously, she had mental issues. She had suicidal thoughts for some time, and I do not know if she got adequate care, therapy, if she was on meds. Obviously, whatever she did or didn't do, it's null and void, and it did not work. And now a young man who had his whole life ahead of him is no longer alive, and his mother and father have to be distraught at this current moment. They have to be absolutely distraught, because that is the worst thing you will ever have to do in life as a parent, is to bury your child. And no parent should have to ever bury their child, under no circumstances. Once again, prayers to the families. I want to thank you all for joining me. Thank you for tuning in to this multifaceted live stream with various topics. And before I go, I'm sorry. I did say we would go over the polls because I got a little winded with that commentary and spinning that story of my friend years ago. Just be aware of your surroundings, everybody. Know that when something doesn't feel right, sound right, try your best to remove yourself from the equation. Know that you're not obligated to anyone, because preservation of self is first. Always remember that. Life is more important than worrying about pleasing people. Once again, should President Biden have pardoned ex-veterans of former gay of the former gay ban? 64% yes, 16% no, 7% not sure, 13% don't care. Wish you dated, married his brother or friend. 3% says yes, his brother. 6% yes, his friend. 86% says never. 3% says still wished to be with the brother or friend. 2% said they did it. Have you ever acted on revenge? 61% yes, 39% no. Did you deliberately get someone fired? 8% yes, 77% no. Attempted, but it didn't work. 3%. Thought about it. 12%. Your husband, boyfriend gave you a transmittal disease. Do you stay? 5% yes, 85% no, 10% not sure. Your husband, boyfriend gave you HIV. Do you stay? 3% yes, 66% no, 10% not sure, 21% says they'll catch a charge. Wow, interesting. Adult child doesn't have a car. Buy one for them, 3%. Help them get one, 77%. Loan them yours, 4%. Give them your car, 3%. Can't help, 13%. You and your ex-boyfriend break up and he begins dating your sister. What do you do? Cuss out both, 15%. Violate both, 6%. Violate sister, 1%. Violate ex-boyfriend, 2%. Move on, cut off sister, 76% out of 130 votes. Your brother, sister, parent becomes homeless, but it's a known thief, addict. Do you take them in? 9% yes, 65% no, not neither. Not sure, 21%. Addict only, 3%. Thief only, 2%. 119 votes. You become homeless and have a pet or more. Do you bring them along if you have to sleep outdoors? 65% yes, 15% no, 12% not sure. Only in the car would you keep the pet? 9%, 116 votes. New law bans homeless from camping on public property. Fines given, possible arrest. If arrested, how much time should a person receive? 10 days, 83%. 30 days or less, 7%. 60 days, 3%. Few to a 6 months, 3%. 1 year, 5%, 76 votes. Repeat question, topic during the last live. Your adult child asked to move back home. Yes, 65% said they would let him come back. No, 5%. Not sure, 2%. Temporary, but I will give a timeline, 26%. Gotta go at the timeline or at some point, 3%, 105 votes. Your adult child asks to move back home but wants the girlfriend or boyfriend to come as well. Yes, 4%. Hell no, 56%. Not sure, 12%. Temporary, I'll give a timeline, 27%, 114 votes. If you became homeless today, do you have a plan in place? 31% says yes. 64% of you said no, you do not. 5% of you are not sure what you would do. 140 votes. Should the police find the homeless person with an animal? This would mean, outside sleeping, of course. 14% yes, 75% no, 8% not sure, 3% don't care, 290 votes. Thank you all so much for taking the poll. Should it be a crime to punish homeless persons sleeping outside on public property? 27% yes, 65% no, 8% not sure, 0% don't care, 229 votes. Amen. Just going through all my updates. And once again, the most controversial question that made people act the damn fool: should white people be allowed to adopt black children? 88% yes, 7% no, 5% not sure. 464 votes. Thank you for your time. As I said before, I need no explanation for the questions I ask. I ask questions according to comments in the chat, my own thought process, live streams, breaking news. You either like them or you don't, and you do not have to comment, nor do you have to take the poll. Thank you for your time. Like, share, subscribe, drop your comments below this video. Take the polls. Check out the numerous shorts Queen uploaded. I have a lot pertaining to everything mentioned in this live stream. There is a 15-second short on every story mentioned in this live stream. Feel free to go back for the replay to get the said information. Woman arrested for bestiality, child pornography, dirty husband. He and his mistress exacted a divorce without the wife's permission. The mistress pretended to be her on the legal documents. Racist staffer calls a black woman on a voicemail white trash. Thought she had hung up the line. And President Biden will seek pardoning ex-gay veterans who got prison time before. Is it right? Is it wrong? Take the poll on my community page. Thank you all so much for joining me. Thank you to mods that came in to mod the chat. You all have a wonderful week. Look forward to a movie suggestion. I will put it on the poll when I come off this live stream. It will be a doozy. And you will, trust me, when you watch this movie, you will probably never, ever get into a rideshare car again after you watch this movie on Tubi. The movie of the week is called Rideshare. Now free on Tubi. Enjoy. You've been listening to the Vault XL. Thank you.